Good morning, boys and girls. This will be part 2 for our exponents. I am on page 10. This is still topic 1, lesson 3 on exponents. I want to look at it a different way. If you can see, let's look at exponents in expanded form. Take a look at this large number here. This is how we have learned exponents. This is how we've learned expanded form in 4th and 5th grade. Okay, and we just reviewed that in lesson 1. Okay, so for example, this 5 came from right there. That's in the 100,000 place. So there's 100,000. How many of them are there? There are 5. Okay, but let's take a look at it using exponents. Okay, come back up here. And just come, for example, to that 3 right there. This is in the hundreds place. Think about exponents. How would you get to 100? 10 times 10, right? 10 times 10 would get you to 100. So this is 10 to the second power. 10 to the second power would get you the 100. How many hundreds are there? There are 3. So for example, that is being expressed right there. Do you see it? Okay, look at another one. Look at the 6, for example. This is in the 10,000s place, correct? You're going, I don't know how to get to 10,000. So let me show you an idea. When you're working with large numbers, here's what I do. And I shared this with the class on Tuesday. I come to the digit right after the first comma. That is your thousands place, right? So I always want you to file in your brain that the thousands place is 10 to the third. The thousands place is 10 to the third. Keep that one. If this is 10 to the third that I'm pointing at, this would be 10 to the second, 10 to the first. And going the other way, this would be 10 to the fourth and 10 to the fifth. Do you see it? Again, file in your brain that the thousands place is 10 to the third. Then when you come down and look at it right here, there's 10 to the third. How many of them are there? There are 2. So let's practice some of these. Ready? I'm going to switch screens. Okay, I'm going to show you my journal and we're going to practice a few. First, watch these. You might need to watch it again. Okay, let's take a peek. So, for example, this problem comes right out of your book. This is page 11, is where that problem came from, 841. Ready? I know that this is hundreds, and this is going to be 10 to the second. And you say, why 10 to the second? Because 10 times 10 is 100, okay? So I'm just going to do a few of these. Ready? This is 8 times 10 to the second plus 4. And if it's the next place over, this must be to the first, because this was 10 to the second, which gets you the hundreds. So this is going to be 4 times 10 to the first plus 1 times 10 to the 0 power. Remember, anything to the 0 power equals 1. So what you're really thinking about right here is 1 times 1. How much is 1 times 1? 1. And there it is expressed right there. You can go back and spot check your work. You say, okay, how did I get that 4 then? Take a look. 10 to the first power is itself. So just 10 to the first power equals 10. Times 4 is 40. The value of that digit right there is 40. Let's do another one. This is number 16. Number 16. Here's what I do. I filed in my brain, and I ask you to remember that the thousands place here is always 10 to the third. Remember that one in case the number's larger going to the left, and you're always going to have digits to the right. This is 10 to the third. Ready? So you would go 5 times 10 to the third plus, if this is 10 to the third, this has to be 10 to the second. Think about it. 10 to the second. 10 times 10 is going to get you into the hundreds. So this is 8 times 10 to the second. This is going to be the first, plus 3 times 10 to the first, plus 2 times 10 to the 0 power. You can spot check any one of these. Let's take this one to spot check. Anything raised to the first power is itself. So again, that equals just 10. Times 3 is 30. You come over here and spot check, you're doing it right. Let's do one with a 0 in it. I've just made this problem up. It is not in your book. Here's how I would do this if I were asked to do it. I would look at this and I go, I know that's 10 to the third right there. That's 10 to the third. The thousands place is always 10 to the third. That means this is 10 to the fourth, and this is 10 to the fifth. So that allows me to come right down here and go 3 times 10 to the fifth. That represents that right there. That's 300,000. This represents 300,000. Now I want to represent 60,000. So this is going to be 6 times 10 to the fourth. Let's represent this one in exponential form. This one is going to be 4 times 10 to the third plus, this is going to be to the second, 5 times 10 to the second. Careful here. It has a 0 here. Notice this would be the first power. I'm going to skip it. Plus, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over, I'm going to skip this 0 and come over here and go 9 times 10 to the 0 power. Notice I skipped first. Let me move that mouse out of the way. Notice it went from the 2 to the 0 because there is nothing in the first power. Spot check. Let's take a look at this one. Anything raised to 0 equals 1. So that means 10 times 10 to the first, 10 to the 0 power is 1. What is 1 times 9? 9. I look over, oops, and there it is right there. Spot check another one. Let's take this one. 10 to the third, that equals 1,000. Just 10 to the third by itself times 4 equals 4,000. I'm going to spot check, and there it is right there. Please send me your questions. Send me any questions. Take your time on these.